Hello and welcome back to my channel, Sammie's Witchcrafts. So in today's video I am going to be showing you how to paper cut, and we're going to be cutting out a squirrel. So I'll show you what you need. You need your pattern or your drawing that you need to cut out, and you need a self-healing mat. It's nice because it's got like a black side and a white side. So if you're doing something with white paper, you can lay the black side down. If you're doing black paper or coloured paper, you can then lay the white side down, and it's all got like measurements and that on there. And the nice thing about these self-healing mats is that when you cut into them, they then self-heal. So I've cut on this quite a lot. I mean, you still get marks in them, but it doesn't go all bobbly or anything like that. So we've got my mat, and then we've got a blade. I think this is a number 11. It's got 11 on it, but you need quite a few of these because the paper, when you cut through, it can make it blunt very, very quickly. So there's nothing worse than cutting with a blunt blade. So I have to have a few of them. Let me just put the lid back on that. So I've got a little box here, and I've got them all in this nice little box. When you get them, they sort of come in all sort of stacked together, and they've got a little bit of oil on them, so you just have to make sure that they're not too oily, because you don't want it to mark your work that you'll be doing. But I also have a little old mint tin, and what I do with that is I put any blunt blades that I've finished using, I put them in this, just so then they're out of harm's way. Now with the paper cutting, you have to be very careful because you are using a very sharp blade. So sometimes if I find my work surface is a little bit too slippery, which it can be, I will tack my mat down, or I'll tack the piece of paper down onto the mat, so then I can then just turn my mat. If I haven't got anything like blue tack or some tape or something to hold this down, I'll use a non-slip mat underneath. But it's pretty sturdy on this table. It's quite secure. So let's go and have a go at paper cutting. So I've got my self-healing mat, and I've got my blade. I think I got these out of somewhere like the Range. I don't know if they sell them in, I can't remember where else I've seen them. It might have been somewhere like Hobbycraft, but I've tried looking on Amazon and I can't seem to find them at the moment. So it's got a nice rubber grip to keep it secure in your hand. So as long as you've got a nice sturdy blade and a self-healing mat, that's all you need. People cut in different places, but I always like to cut the finer detail first before I then cut the outside. It's just so then I've got something to hold. So to start off, I'm going to turn my work just so it's comfortable for me to hold my knife or my blade, and plus hopefully you can see what I'm doing. But always remember to keep your hand well away from the blade. But before I start, I've just noticed that this is an old blade, so I'm going to change it. So I'm going to just untwist here, going to just twist it, keeping that blade away from my fingers, and you'll find it will turn a little bit, and then it should just easily come out. Being very careful as you do this. Then I put my blade in now. I've got a blade out already. So what you do is in the top here, you can see that there's a cross, and you place your blade into that cross. Push it down. I just put my finger just on the, not the sharp side, but on the blunt side, and then I just twist, holding that blade, but keeping my fingers well away from the end, because it is very, very sharp. And just making sure, give it a little tug without touching the actual sharp side. Just pull that just to make sure that the blade is secure, and then just give it another turn. So now we are ready to cut. So I'm going to start off with this eye here. So I just I'm holding my paper down. I've got my hand firmly on the paper, and I just put the point into the edge of the eye, and I just do a little cut, and then carry on cutting. It doesn't matter if you cut onto the line, if you just cut inside. And I'm going to turn the whole thing round, and I'm going to then cut the other side of the eye. Now, if it doesn't come up, is it going to come up? Yes. It's come out, and you can see I've done my first cut. But what I'm also going to do is I've got the lid of another box that I've got my blades in. So any bits of paper that I cut, I put in the lid of that box. So now I'm going to cut this bigger section out here. So I'm going to just slowly cut along the line. Then when I've done that, I'm going to turn my work so it's easy for me to cut, and I'm not putting too much pressure on the blade. So I've cut here, so I now want to cut this section here. And I just push down into the paper and through. Sometimes it can be a little bit tough, but you just have to just take your time and not rush, especially when you've got something so sharp in your hand. And we're just going to go along the lines with my knife. And just slowly guide it through, but making sure I'm holding the paper down. So now we're coming to a bit of a longer line. So I put where I've just cut, and I just slowly go along that line, and then stop when I get to the end. I'm going to turn my work round, and where I finished cutting, I'm then now going to do this section here. And then I'll turn my work, keeping my blade out of harm's way, and then I just carry on cutting round along the line. Now I'm cutting out the actual squirrel is printed grey, and the parts that are white are the parts that you cut out. So I'm just double making sure I've cut that. Yes, as you can see, it's moving. And I think get my blade and just catch the end, just to pull that up. So yes, we've cut that section out. I'll just lift that up. And now I'm going to start doing these bits here. I find the point, which is just there, and as I come round slightly, I just go really slowly, not to bend. I mean, if you do paper cutting, you may cut it in a different way to how I do it, but this is how I'm just showing how I do my paper cutting. Now, I've forgotten where I've cut. I just run my finger along, and then you can just feel where you've cut. So I'm going to go to this point here, and I'm just going to go down slowly, and as it comes round, just pull the blade round slowly. Lift a piece of paper and put it in the little box. So I'm going to do the rest of these. Slowly. Go that side. And just... Sometimes it doesn't always reach the point that you've cut, so if you just go as far as you can and then join the other side. Got my bracelets hanging off my wrist, so if that's, you can hear that tingling sound, that's my bracelets. Lift that up. Right, I've taken my bracelet off because it was driving me crazy, and it sometimes comes out quite loud on the video. So I'm going to cut this one here and just go around very slowly. Go to the other side. See, that one's not reaching, so I'll go back to that side, and then I'll just go to the point and then just double cut. It doesn't matter if you don't cut the lines, because when you show these and display them, you display them the other side, so this grey print will be on the back. So now I'm going to cut this really thin piece here. As I've done a few of these, I've shown how to cut those. So now I'm going to just do this thin piece here, and because it's got a bit of an arc to it, you have to just go extremely slowly. So I'll put my point of my blade at the beginning and just follow it round. I'm going to turn my work with my blade still in. Get to the bottom and take the blade out. And I'm going to go back to the top. Now sometimes you may need just to hold what you're cutting, keeping your finger or your thumb out of the way. Just turn release, and then should be able to, if I can't get the piece out, I put my blade down, making sure that it's not going to roll. In fact, I'm going to put the lid on in case it does roll off. Sometimes I'll have a set of tweezers with me, but if it's a good cut, it will just come out pretty easy. So there, we've cut that really thin piece out. So now I'm going to continue and cut these other little petal shapes out. And once you get the hang of how to cut with the blade, they cut out really nicely. It becomes a little bit easier, but at first it may be a little bit fingers and thumbs again. But if you find it's just grab the end, but keeping your thumb and your fingers away. So that bit now is a little bit still stuck, so I just get me blade, I just go either side, and then it comes away nicely. I'll just turn that because I'm quite near that cut there, and that's where sometimes you can carry on cutting, and that's when you'll then cut into something that you don't want to cut into. So if you're a little bit unsure, stop, take the blade out, and then reposition your blade and then cut. My blade at the moment seems to be cutting nicely, and it's not blunt just yet. I'll put a little picture up of the book that I got this from. I think there's something like, I know there's 4 different books you can get. There may be more now. And they're a nice thickness of card or paper. It's not quite paper, but it's not quite card. It's just a little bit thicker than paper. Just go round. Just turn the work so I can get a better angle. Go round. I'm going to turn it again because I don't want to snap my blade. Just going to hold that down there so it doesn't crease. And one more on this little bit. So I've gone a little bit too wide there, so that's why I've changed the angle, because I don't, if I'd carried on, I would have then cut into that other piece, and I don't want to cut into that other piece. So we just go round. But you can see why you need complete silence, so to say. And being in the motorhome, if you're at home and you're on a sturdy table, it's fine. But where we're in the motorhome, if people move about or the dog jumps off the bed or gets up on the bed, it wobbles. And I really don't want that wobbling. 1, because I've got a blade in my hand. And 2, I don't want it to affect my camera. So I'm just going to go over this eye because I'm not happy with that eye. So I'm just going to go round and just make it a little bit bigger. Just get rid of the little bits and pieces. me lid on my blade so I can show you what it's looking like. So there you can see it in the picture. If I turn over, it doesn't look like a squirrel at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go and cut all these round here. But I mostly do that on a time lapse, and then when it comes to this big bit in the middle, I'll then come back and show you how I cut that bit in the middle. So I'll just sort of explain how I cut this curve out here. Even though I did curves here, they were more like leaf shapes, where these ones have got the rounded edge. So what I do is I go up as far as I know I can bring my hand round. So I put in the blade and I go round and I cut, pull down. Then I do the same the other side. I go up as far as I know that I can bend, not bend, but I can bring the blade round. Then I'll turn my work to how comfortable I feel. And then I'll just slowly go round that extra bit just to get that. And sometimes you'll get where the knife's gone that way, it's got like a little nick. It's not a smooth edge. So I'll then just tidy that up by just going round and smoothing that bottom of that teardrop shape. Let's carry on cutting. Coming to the last two now. So once you get the hang of it, you'll start learning your own technique. So if I turn it over, it looks completely different on the other side because you can't see the outline of the squirrel. So now I'm going to cut this great big swirl here. So I start at the point. When you're pulling the knife towards you like this, try not to put too much pressure behind it, so then it goes away with you, if you know what I mean. If you push down to it and it then becomes quite easy to do, you can sometimes, the blade can sort of slip, so you need to just try and control the blade as best as you can. So as I go round, if I get to a point and I think I can't carry on, I then turn my work, find where I last was cutting into it. And you can find it by, you put your knife in and you can feel the gap that you've just cut. And then you just carry on going round. You can put your finger on it just to give it a little bit more support as you go round, but go slow. Now I'm getting to the part where I need to turn the work a little bit more, find where the groove is, and then carry on. Just making sure my fingers are out of the way, and then I go straight down to that point. It's going to be tough there, so I'll just put my finger there just so I know that it's not going to slip away on my finger. Now we're going to do the other side. And this takes a little bit more concentration. So you put your blade in and you cut down along the line the best you can. But I put my finger just in like front of the blade, like or behind the blade, just so then if I don't, and I start, you can see the paper is starting to lift up. So just sort of just guide it round slowly. So I'm going to just lift it up and round. Get it in a comfortable position and keep cutting. And I'm going to go all the way down. Oops, it's come out. So just put my blade back into where it was last cut. And then it should then all sort of come out. Now the beginning bit here is still attached, so I just get my knife and cut it out. Now I've just noticed here this hasn't cut down here, so I just run my knife along, find where it isn't cut. There we go. And then just see if I can lift it with my fingers. There we go. Just caught it with my blade. And it's not cut there, so I'm just gonna give a little cut in now. So now we've cut that bit out. And if you find it's not perfect in places, just go over and just round them off. Make sure there's no paper underneath. So this is a really basic, detailed squirrel, but for beginners it's brilliant. So I've done all the fine details inside. I mean, if you want to put a few extra cuts in here or in his I might put one in his ear actually. I might just put a little, I know it's not drawn on there, but I'm gonna just cut and then maybe a little bit on his nose, just cut a what does that look like? Yeah. So now I'm going to cut all round the edge. So I'm going to start off with his tail and go round that way. So at the bottom of his back of his feet, I pull down, take my blade out and cut into his fur there. Go down and cut into his fur there. I'm going to do that all the way round. Like I say, you haven't got to stay on the lines. Just turn my work. I hope you can still hear me now. Someone's cutting the grass. Just going all the way around the edge. So going along, coming to the point, taking my knife out and then just cutting that little bit. Rather than cutting in and going backwards and forwards, I try and do it as easy as I can, just for the safety of keeping the knife. So cut around the edge. Go along and then just put a little bit of a cut and you'll see the end result in how it comes out. So I'm just turning my work again just to make it easy for me. This is a really nice one to do actually. Just gets you used to using the craft knife. Now as I do more cuts now, because this is now starting to come out, I'll hold down my work so then it's not gonna tear. So we're coming to the tip of his tail. So I'll find another point and go round and pull down. I'm coming to a bit now where it's right next to his tail, so I just got to take a little bit of extra care not to cut into his tail. This bit here, if I've cut it correctly, just lift it up, just catching, just catching here. Is it there? Why is it there? A little bit. There we go. Turn it completely upside down now. Cut there. Cut there. I try not to cut into the picture, if that makes any, because if you cut into the picture, I have done it a couple of times, but if you cut, you can then cut too far and you'll end up lines within your bit of work, and you don't want that. So I turn it right round. So because I don't want to cut down in case I cut into here, I'm cutting away, so then if I do cut too much further, I'm cutting into the bit that I don't need. So I'd always try and cut away from the picture when I'm cutting the edging out. Nearly there. Because it's hand or it's paw, it's quite, so I'm just gonna slowly go around, lift it up to see if it's, I'll check that when I come to take it all out. Now when you come to the last bit, just take a little bit more care, because the rest of it can now come out. So to stop your blade from sort of sliding, right, so I'm now going to cut round the bottom of his foot. Turn my work. Go around. Right, let's see now. Right, there's a bit stuck there. Let's just put my lid on my knife. And now we should that's it. Oh, and it's all come out. and then you turn it over, and this is the side that you'll be showing. Let's put that on there properly. Take that out there so you can see. So if you wanted, you could then put more cuts in here, but I'm going to just leave it. I've added the nose and the ear. So that's paper cutting. So there we have a paper cut, or paper cutting. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you are someone who does paper cutting, and you can give me some tips as well, because I haven't been doing this very long. So I've just started another one of a fox, so which is going to look quite nice, but that was quite detailed. So but I just thought this one was a nice beginner's one, very basic pattern to cut out, and it's lovely to do, and it didn't take me that long. The bigger ones, the ones with more print that you've got to cut out, more detail, can take me a couple of days, but that's just taken me about not even an hour. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Sammie, which crafts should we do next? I think I might do the rug making next. Might, but I've got to start that crochet blanket, haven't I? So I might start that. So I don't know. Well, I'm going to start that anyway, but I might record a little bit just to show it on here. So anyway, if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and as I always say, make a comment. I really appreciate it, and I love reading them. Anyway, you will take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.